Service Incorporated, and the University of Arizona. Now you can go, because you're here, right? Let me take this opportunity to introduce a very special guest that we have with us tonight. Starting on my left, right here, Regent Eddie Basha, member of the Arizona Board of Regents. Next to Mr. Basha. Ms. Debbie Sanders, President, University Foundation Service Incorporated. Dean John Taylor, Dean, University of Arizona College of Education. Colonel William Llewellyn, Director of Operations and Training, U.S. Army Intelligence Center in Fort Huachuca. Dr. William R. Noyes, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs, the University of Arizona. Ms. Denise Glass, President of the University of Arizona Service Alumni Association, Huachucats. To my right, the Honorable Richard F. Archer, Mayor of the City of Sierra Vista. Mr. Carl Elledge, President Emeritus, University Foundation of Sierra Vista Incorporated. Dr. Dan Kirby, University of Arizona College of Education, Department Head. Ms. Frances Miller, who is the principal of Buena High School and is also representing the Governing Board for Cochise Community College. We do have several other guests that we would like to recognize also. And I wish you would, if you would stand, and then we will hold the applause until we've introduced them. Dr. James Duncan, Ms. Sharon Denham. Jim Duncan and Sharon Denham are our faculty members with the Elementary Education Program. Honest Anderson, Faculty of Psychology. Mr. Todd Lutz, Faculty of Political Science. And Ms. Margaret Genia is with us, who handles our extended education for the campus. So welcome. Thank you. Let me take a couple of moments to tell you a little something about our graduating class. We're graduating tonight 28 students. 24 of those are female. They would not be attending this ceremony tonight had the University of Arizona Service to campus not been here. And I think that is very, very important in terms of what we're all about and why we're here. 20% would still have attended the University of Arizona, but probably would not have graduated tonight had we not offered the classes and the curriculum that we have here. This is consistent with what has been happening in the past in terms of the needs that we are providing in terms of higher education and satisfying those needs for these graduates with you tonight. I do want to take just a moment also to tell you that there's a lot going on in the state of Arizona with higher education. There's a lot going on in southeastern Arizona relative to the community college and its growth. Their $4.7 million expansion is going to take place relative to the University Foundation of Sierra Vista Incorporated and the new building that has been built and funded by the community that will be complete next week, and we will move into that building in 2 weeks. And it's a 12,600 square foot campus facility built specifically by funded dollars from this community for the University of Arizona. And as important as all those things are, the reason that we're here, the reason that we're here in the state of Arizona, and the reason that we're here in southeastern Arizona is because of what happened tonight. That this is the culmination of a lot of work on the parts of a lot of people sitting in front of us today, and I congratulate each and every one of you. This is what it's all about. We can listen to the pomp and circumstance, and we can talk about the things that go on within the departments and within the colleges, but this is what it all comes down to. This night, this one evening, when our graduates are honored here in this ceremony. We will not change that. We'll keep this as a personal ceremony for as long as we can, until, of course, when I look into the room and there are 600,000 or 6,000 or 5,000 students sitting in front of us, then we may have to change that. But in the meantime, we're going to keep it personal. This is what it is all about. I would like to read a letter when we sent invites out. One of the letters that came in was from our governor, Governor Symington, And he was sensitive enough to this and felt enough strongly enough about this that he would send a letter. And I would like to share that letter with you because it is to the graduates tonight. It says, "Greetings and congratulations. On behalf of the state of Arizona, I want to congratulate all of you who have gathered at this graduation recognition ceremony at the University of Arizona's Service to campus. Although I regret I cannot be with you this evening, I am proud to join you in recognizing the accomplishments of this graduating class, whose hard work, perseverance, and achievement and recognition ceremony honors. The word commencement, as many a graduation speech has intoned, means a beginning, not an end. For the graduates of the University of Arizona and for their families, friends, and teachers, the accomplishments honored today will pale in comparison to the many accomplishments yet to come. To be recognized as an educated person, one must possess the willingness to constantly learn by exploring new ideas and insights throughout one's lifetime. This recognition ceremony, certain to be a source of many happy memories, mark the beginning of this journey, and I want to send my best wishes for continued success to each of you. Again, congratulations. Sincerely, Fife Symington, Governor of the State of Arizona." Tonight we have changed the ceremony. And one of the things we do every year when we do this and we evaluate and want to add and improve that is that we are recognizing a student tonight. And this student has been elected by this graduating class to present an address. And I want to say a little bit about the student. Miss Mary Joanne Berger, post-baccalaureate certification in elementary education. BA, University of Iowa, 1970, journalism major. She's married to Dr. Robert Berger, 3 sons, Michael, Mark, and Matthew. Resident of Sierra Vista since 1990. Her academic goal, master's degree in education, emphasis on communications, University of Arizona. Would you please welcome Mary Joanne Berger.
Vice President Noyes, Regent Basha, Dean Taylor, Dr. Kirby, President Emeritus Ellich, Dr. Groff, Mayor Archer, Colonel Llewellyn, Foundation President Sanders, Ms. Glass, Principal Miller, distinguished educators, honored graduates, beloved family and friends, ladies and gentlemen. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was moments of pride and hours of self-doubt. It was months of weariness in anticipation of years of satisfaction. It was a long and sometimes frustrating journey that we are nevertheless a little sad somehow to find coming to an end. We have enjoyed the exhilaration of mastering concepts, of grasping knowledge and making it our own. We have known despair as personal and family responsibilities and academic demands crowded relentlessly upon us, obscuring that dim and distant light at the end of the tunnel where we bask today. As a group, we have played out just about every human drama. We have experienced illness, injury, death in the family, divorce, financial hardship. We have had marriages made and babies born. We have supported each other and at times prodded each other. We have teased and tormented each other as only people can who are secure in their friendship. We have endured together, and today we're celebrating together. The celebration is perhaps sweeter because it was so long in coming to so many of us. Unlike youth, education may not be wasted on the young, but it is surely more prized by the not so young. No nation is so abundantly endowed with mental resources that it can afford to neglect the development of minds, not even minds housed in 45-year-old bodies. As economic circumstances require people to defer or spread out their dreams of higher education, the numbers will increase of non-traditional students like ourselves. I will not sell short my colleagues in this graduating class by implying that we would have lacked the perseverance to obtain our credentials had not the University of Arizona provided classes in Sierra Vista. But it is true that by having quality education available locally, our chances for a timely and successful culmination have been enhanced. Some would say we got in on the ground floor of this institution. Actually, we didn't have a floor, or walls, or a cook machine to call our own. All that will change in a few short weeks when the University of Arizona opens its doors to students on a new Sierra Vista campus. Those who choose to attend this university will enjoy a college experience more in keeping with the image of campus life. We hope to see their numbers grow and their choices multiply as the UASV becomes a widely recognized and established member of the national academic community. As for us, the 1993 graduates, our duty is clear. We are helping to establish the reputation of the University of Arizona Sierra Vista. Our final assignment is to prove ourselves capable, confident, well-prepared professionals. We are equal to that task. Having opened these remarks with a literary reference, I choose to close with the words of another more contemporary author. Elementary education graduates will recognize the wise and wonderful Dr. Seuss. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own. You know what you know. And you are the guide who will decide where to go. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang. And you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. We'll get on your way. Let's be on our way.
Thank you, Mary. We will find a position at the university in Sierra Vista for a speechwriter as quickly as we can. Very well. Thank you very much. Our address tonight is presented by Mr. Eddie Bosch. Eddie Bosch is a lifelong resident of Arizona. He graduated from Chandler High School in 1955 and went on to attend Stanford University as a history major. After completing his college career, Eddie returned to Arizona to embark on his professional career with his family company, Bosch's Markets Incorporated. He assumed the presidency in 1968 following his father's death. Bosch's is a family-owned corporation with 55 grocery stores in 10 of Arizona's 15 counties. 2 additional stores lie outside the state of Arizona in California and another on the Navajo Reservation in Crown Point, New Mexico. Eddie's involvement in community service are so far numerous to cite. His special emphasis has always been education, a cause he has served for more than a quarter century. He spent 13 years on the Chandler Board of Education, 8 years on the State Board of Education, and the past 4 years as on the Board of Regents. Eddie is a vocal advocate for children's rights to quality and care and education, more efficient and effective state and local governments, quality land use for dynamic Arizona lifestyles, and preserving Native American heritage. The immediate Basham family consists of Eddie, his wife Nadine, Mathis, and 6 sons. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Regent Eddie Basham.
I took off my hat because it bothers my hair. Next year, could we please reverse the order of speakers so that the graduate speaks after the speaker? Mary Joanne, you upstaged me already. It's a beautiful speech. Members of the graduating class, members of the faculty, Vice President Noyes, Dr. Groth, loved ones, families, and friends of the graduates, special guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. I'm well aware that I've reversed the order of precedent that is customarily prescribed for these occasions. I reversed the order of precedent deliberately because it is you graduates whom we commemorate and honor. However, I also want to make some other special remarks, a recognition and commendation which ultimately relate to you as graduates as well. And those remarks are directed to Dr. Pacheco and Accentia, Dr. Noyes, Dr. Groth, and everyone else associated with the University of Arizona Sierra Vista. Why? The answer is fairly simple. I've been in business for a long time. And if I've learned anything, it is that a business or any kind of enterprise, for that matter, must be customer-centered, or in the vernacular, consumer-driven, in order to succeed and survive. For too long, many of our educational institutions, especially our state universities, considered themselves to be immune from the customer-centered characteristic. At a time when the needs, our educational needs of the people of Arizona were more all-encompassing than ever before, our university system seemed to be drawing in rather than reaching out. This made access to a baccalaureate degree and the related support services of a 4-year institution both programmatically and geographically unreachable for far too many citizens of our state. Well, I believe this attitude was due more to a lack of awareness than indifference. Its negative effects were just as great. When one compared this attitude of exclusivity to that of our state community college system, the contrast became all the more stark. I am convinced that our community colleges are perhaps the pivotal educational institutions in Arizona. They are our secret weapons when it comes to the delivery of accessible, affordable, high-quality educational services. And they have done an outstanding job of serving the people of the state to the limits of their academic charters. The challenge for community colleges, however, was that the charter extended only to the offering of a 2-year associate's degree. The community college graduate with the need or desire to continue to the next level was still left with a problem not just of what next, but of where next when it came to continuing his or her education. And although this might seem like relatively simple questions in the metropolitan areas of our state, they turn out to be rather more complicated and daunting in areas like Cochise County. Thus, what we basically had was a need which was not being met in Arizona to any real degree. We had a problem. But as in any enterprise, including education, the more challenging the situation, the greater the opportunity for creative solutions. And a creative solution was exactly what's emerged. And those of you who are participants in and graduates of the 2+2 program are the direct beneficiaries. The people of the great community of Sierra Vista showed leadership and vision and dedication and commitment in approaching this problem. They employed creativity, a willingness to look beyond the status quo, a desire to be responsive to a demonstrated need, and an ability to think beyond what is to what if. Because of this, they, through Cochise College and the University of Arizona, have developed a sort of customer-driven response to an educational need that represents cooperation and teamwork at its very best. By merging local facilities, virtually all of them financed by individuals and businesses locally, and with the curriculum resources of a university, higher education services are being provided to a major economic and population center of this state. The program is a model, as well as effective format, and one that is in place in Yuma and Mojave, and should be emulated in Prescott, Graham, and Pinal counties, and wherever else appropriate. When I began these remarks, I indicated a link between comments concerning the Sierra Vista University of Arizona partnership and the specific remarks I wish to address to all of you graduates here tonight. And so doing, my point once again is to suggest to each one of you the importance of going beyond what is and instead focusing on what if. And like so many other addresses of this nature, I am not going to encourage you to be goal-oriented, because you already are. If you were not, you wouldn't be here. Setting and achieving goals is something each one of you graduates is clearly accomplished. So rather than challenge you to be goal-oriented, I challenge you to broaden your vision and become as futures-oriented in the way you look at the world as you have been in charting your own personal future. There has never been a time in our lives and in the lives of our nation itself in which thinking in the what-if dimension has been so important. You didn't ask me here tonight to discourse on foreign affairs, but I genuinely do believe I would be remiss if I failed to link what you have accomplished as individuals to what is going on in the world in which you are preparing yourselves to take a greater role. The question, of course, is what role will that be? And what will achieving it be like? What will achieving it be like during your productive years? Years that will bridge the movement of our world from the 20th to the 21st century. Will it be business as usual for our nation and our state and our society and our economy? I am convinced that the answer is a resounding no. Rather, the widespread, profound changes going on all over the planet will also profoundly affect the way in which all of our lives are lived in our own little world. All of us are small, but individual reflections of our society as a whole. And for the past 50 years, our society has adopted a business-as-usual attitude toward a great many things that have gone on in the world. For instance, we all grew up learning the predictable set of thinking patterns about China, about the Soviet Union, about the nations of Central and Eastern Europe, about Central and South America, and even our closest neighbor, Mexico. We had a stock set of responses that pretty well managed to fit, with minor modifications from time to time, the political, the social, the economic, and the military events in these parts of the world. But what about today? Governments, economic theories, political and social patterns have changed and are changing so rapidly in so many parts of the world that every history book over 2 years old is essentially obsolete. What is to me the most important single aspect of these revolutionary happenings is that they have taken place in a context in which one of the 20th century's dominant social, political, and economic theories, communism, is virtually collapsed. It is clear when most any peoples or nations are given a choice, they are opting for the political freedom, the economic openness, and the social mobility that are the true antithesis of Marxism. This is perhaps the most exciting time in our century to be alive. Yet as hopeful as we may be about what is going on in most of the rest of the world, we are in this nation being severely challenged in our response to these changes. we have not really begun to develop the social or economic responses to these events. We do not yet have the understanding we will need if America is going to successfully meet and adapt to the challenges in such a way that will keep us ahead of the pace of history, that will keep us a leader rather than a spectator in this new world that is forming before our eyes. We are moving from a post-industrial age into an electronic technology-driven age of information. We are moving from an age which was dominated by a focus on industrial production to one which will be increasingly dominated by the delivery of services and information. And even though, as President Clinton said last week, the world has not yet seen the end of evil, America is beginning to at last shift from 5 decades of an essentially wartime defense industry economy. And while we can anticipate a need for the kinds of resources which facilities like Fort Huachuca provide us far into the next century and beyond, Arizona and America are going to be challenged as never before to sustain our economy. And yet, at a time when there is less threat than ever before to the global military conflict we have spent billions of dollars preparing for, we are unwilling to spend even the fraction of that amount required to bring us to readiness in the world war that is going on even as you and I are gathered here this evening. For how can all of us fail to acknowledge the fact that America is again at war? We're at war today with our allies, with our fellow capitalists, with our trading partners, and yes, with our erstwhile enemies. And the war is one that is waged with brains, not bullets. And instead of counting our battle casualties in bodies, we count them in trade balances, sales made and sales lost, foreign bank ownerships, foreign patent registrations, and budget deficits. Can America fight such a war and win? Certainly, but only if we direct our enormous creative energies toward changing our long-held perceptions of the world and preparing for a world in which the principal struggles are social, political, and economic. Basically, all of us, especially you graduates and your counterparts all over America whom you symbolize tonight, must form a new social and economic compact that says all of us must together reshape society. We must work to develop a new generation of Americans who are educated for responsible citizenship and productive economic growth. We need a generation of people who can work and compete in the international marketplace and who have the spiritual and intellectual attributes necessary to live in a world that will continue to change and change even more rapidly than ours is changing today. A new generation committed to working to enable America's productive might to be restored to the economic preeminence it once enjoyed. I realize that these are very general, very global challenges, but they have a very specific, very local application, you see, because you are the people who must be able to change, to adapt, to grow with the changing world. You, the graduates of the University of Arizona who are here tonight, and the people you must in turn help to change are your children, and your nieces and your nephews, and your neighbors and your neighbors' children. Change and the ability to change doesn't occur on the other side of the globe. Change occurs in Sierra Vista, in Douglas, in Bisbee, in Naco, and everywhere else in which people live, work, go to school, and make a living. And everywhere in the world, change must be led. Change must be managed. Change must be interpreted by people who have the intellectual capacity and the personal responsibility to do so. And that is what you have been preparing for. That is, of course, not likely to be in the specific sense what you have been deliberately doing. It is, however, the reality of what you have accomplished. So in closing, I charge you and I challenge you to be role models. You have accomplished something significant, and what you have achieved is something that someone else may want to achieve, but may lack the courage or self-confidence or encouragement to undertake. You may have felt you were alone as you struggled with your studies and worked diligently to achieve this milestone this evening, but others were watching you. Others were gathering courage to do what you have done, and your encouragement to them may act as the catalyst to a new life. A new life enriched by the strength of character and sheer determination you yourselves have exhibited. A new life for which your own served both as the pattern and as a wealth of inspiration. These are the kinds of real riches represented by this gathering, represented by your graduating class, and by the communities from which you come. They are the riches of the human mind and human spirit, nourished by education. They are America's and Arizona's greatest resources, and you represent them. There's a Chinese proverb that says, to plant for a year, cultivate corn. To plant for a decade, plant trees. To plant for a century, educate the citizenry. Graduates, you have planned for a century, but we must make certain that we as a society, as communities, plan for the centuries by investing our resources into all the minds that will carry our nation and our state forward. In that continuing endeavor, I challenge you, the newest graduates of the University of Arizona, to help lead the way. Good luck, and God bless you.
Thank you, Regent Boshin. Well, will you accept that challenge? That's a yes or no question. Yes? Yes? Okay. And Regent Boshin, thank you for those kind words. And we too accept that challenge as the University of Arizona. And we will work very hard. Absolutely. I want to give Dr. William R. Noyes, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs at the University of Arizona, a few moments.
I get to do the fun job this evening, and that is to introduce each and every one of the graduates. This only happens in Sierra Vista. If you were in Tucson, there would be a sea of you. You might get to pop a champagne cork, as though we would not like you to do that in the middle of the ceremony. But here you get something very special, which is an individual opportunity to be recognized for your achievements. And I can tell you that as a member of the faculty of the university and as a member of the administration, there is no more fun evening that I have than doing this with those of you that are here. And in so doing, recognize and thank the people of Sierra Vista who helped make all of this possible, and the people hidden way back there in some ways of Fort Huachuca who over the years provided an educational base that helped make this possible. So without further ado, here are the graduates. Now, Kathy Kaplan did her job absolutely perfectly. You're all in right order. And my words will match each one of you. The first candidates for graduation are the Bachelor of Arts in Education, Elementary Education major. And the first one is Joanne Malicki. She attended Kuka College, Antelope Valley College, and Cochise College before joining the elementary education cohort at UASV. She student taught at the 4th grade at Village Meadows. As Joanne graduates, her daughter is getting ready to begin her career at the University of Arizona, and we wanted to acknowledge Joanne as our distinguished senior citizen graduate. Donna Lynn Boyle transferred from Cochise College after attending Columbus College in Georgia. She taught in the 1st grade at Bella Vista. She has an aunt who teaches 5th grade in California and a brother-in-law who recently retired after 30 years in teaching and administration. She's on the dean's list with distinction. We we'd like to say a special thank you to her husband Richard and her children Jeannie and Sam. Ronald Davis Sr. received a BS from Eastern Kentucky University in Recreation and Park Administration. He also attended Austin Peay State University and Cochise College. He student taught at Meyer Elementary in the 5th grade. He's been working as a substitute teacher with Sierra Vista and Fort Huachuca schools. Although Ron didn't mention it, I'm sure he wants to give a special thanks to Louis Pelicano, who made registration each semester a real adventure. Michelle Feingold attended Rose State College and Cochise College before transferring to UASV. She student taught at the 4th grade at Village Meadows. She's been on the Dean's List with distinction and is graduating with a 4.0 GPA. Would like to thank her entire family, I'm sure, for their encouragement and support, especially her husband Dan and son Tommy, quote, for being such good listeners when I had yet another idea I wanted them to hear. Since this is both the formal and informal time, if you want to come up and take a photograph of your family member while they're getting their diploma, you're welcome. Elsa S. Garcia attended the University of Texas at El Paso and Cochise College before coming to UASV. She worked as a substitute teacher while completing her program with us. Student taught at the Douglas School District, grade 2. That must have been enjoyable. We want to thank Elsa for nominating Joanne Balicki as our distinguished senior citizen graduate. Leanne G. Gregg entered our program after attending Pima Community College and Cochise College. She saw 2 grandsons added to her family while attending UASV. She student taught at the 5th grade at Bella Vista Elementary. She's on the Dean's List with distinction and will graduate with a 3.89 GPA. There was one teacher that we got you. She already has a teacher in the family. Her daughter Christina teaches math at Desert View High School in Tucson. She wants to give a special thanks to her husband David, who is a political science major with UASV. By way of Brookdale College, Bakersfield College, Los Angeles Community College, DeKalb College, University of Maryland, and Cochise College. This is a man of all colleges. He assisted with special needs students in reading and language arts and with gifted education at the Elgin Elementary School during his time here. He student taught at the Sierra Vista Middle School, grade 7. He asked us to thank Dr. Jim Duncan and Sharon Denham for their inspiration and professionalism. He would like to thank his wife for her sacrifice and support, his 4 children for, quote, being excellent students and wonderful human beings, end quote, and the B Block teachers for being great mentors. Colleen Roberts Kennedy attended Northern Arizona University and Cochise College before joining this program. Her mother is also an educator. Beth Roberts is Dean of Instruction in the Sierra Vista campus at Cochise College. She student taught in the kindergarten at Village Meadows. She will long be remembered and appreciated by the UASV staff for bringing them food from the rustic rail when she needed to use the phone. And congratulations to her mom, Beth Roberts, who just got her doctorate from Northern Arizona. Claudia M. Leon is a 2+2 student attending only Cochise College and UASV to complete her degree. She student taught in the 1st grade at Sarah Marley Elementary School in Douglas. She's done volunteer work with Cochise Community Counseling Services, including translating substance abuse testing and education materials into Spanish. attended NAU and Cochise College prior to coming here. She received a scholarship from Phi Delta Kappa for prospective educators. She worked full-time at Ace Hardware until her student teaching semester, which was done in the first grade at Village Meadows. She entered our program as Kathy Neller, but was married in September 1991. Her husband, Jason Lovely, will graduate next May with his BA in elementary education. Ada G. Martinez is a 2+2 student from Cochise College. A student taught in the second grade at Sarah Miley Elementary School in Douglas. Jim and Sharon wanted you to know they consider Ada and her fraternal twin Claudia to be consummate professionals because of their belief that, quote, stupid responses, end quote, are the better part of valor. Karen E. Paisano, a 2+2 student from Cochise College, worked as a teacher's aide for part of her time at UASV. She student taught at Bisbee's Greenway School in the second grade. She would like to give a special thank you to all of her family. S. Schwindeman. Before joining the elementary education program at UASV, attended Southeast Missouri State University, Itawamba Community College, and Cochise College. She has a sister, Chris Bryan, who is a teacher in Chicago. She'd like to thank her husband, Ernest, and her children, Derek and Mitzi, for hanging in there and supporting me through these years. We were not sure how to take her comment on our survey. Quote, it's been such an experience to have gone through these years with such a mature underline. She added that underline. Class. We're just grateful it wasn't the mature office staff she was commenting on. Stoic transferred from Cochise Community College after previously attending Casper College. She's on the President's Honor Roll. She student taught at the Greenway School in Bisbee in the third grade. She is surrounded by a family of educators. Her mother teaches special reading, her father teaches high school, and her husband is an instructor at Cochise College. Attended Pima Community College and Cochise College before joining UASV. She received the Fry Foundation Scholarship that made the Dean's Honor List. Both her uncle and father were elementary school teachers. She student taught at Village Meadows Elementary School in first grade. Attended Cochise College, Victor Valley College, Cal State University, all before receiving a BA, where she received a BA in Liberal Studies. She received the Doherty Scholarship in 1992 and will graduate with a 3.9 GPA. She student taught at Lowell Middle School in the sixth grade in a bilingual classroom and truly appreciated the support she received from her coordinating teacher, Lynn Berry. She'd like to thank her husband, Richard, for his support and advice to the three older children, Donna, Richie, and Jimmy, quote, for trying to understand when Mom had homework. Also, she wanted us to mention the special bonding that took place in the cohort as shown by the wonderful baby shower they threw when Debbie and another student, Heidi Silver, were pregnant last year. Is a 2+2 student from Cochise College. She taught at Shepherd's Fold Preschool while attending UASV. She's a member of the Golden Key National Honor Society and student taught in the first grade at Bella Vista Elementary School. We have one student who has achieved the Bachelor of Arts Interdisciplinary Studies major. Barbara Ann Fromm attended Illinois State University and the University of Illinois in Cochise. She worked part-time with the City of Sierra Vista and also House of Fabrics while attending classes at UASV and will graduate with a 4.0 GPA. The three major subject areas were psychology, history, human resources management. I'm sure she's going to put those together for an interesting job. She would like to thank her husband and children for the sacrifices they made to make her graduation possible and her friends for their support. We want to congratulate her on a new position with Meritech Incorporated in Champaign, Urbana. The company writes and sells employment and psychological tests. Now for the Bachelor of Arts Psychology major. Janet E. Fulham is a 2+2 student from Cochise College. She received a YWCA scholarship and holds a 4.0 GPA. While attending classes here, she worked as the office manager for St. Luke's Catholic Church in Douglas. She's a fan of video campus classes since they allowed her to make maximum use of her time after commuting from Douglas. You didn't take any of those tapes home, did you? She would like to thank her boss, Mr. Liam Lee, for his patience and understanding, her children Sandy, Audra, Craig, and Christy for their support, encouragement, and cooperation, and God for the strength to persevere. The next graduate, I don't seem to, oh yeah, I do have something on. We warned her, this is Alston Nelson, and we warned Alston that if she didn't fill out the questionnaire on our graduation survey, we would just have to provide our own set of information. So she received an associate's degree of whaling technology from Reykjavik Community College before transferring to UASV. Reykjavik, recognized, is a nice place. While pursuing her degree, she worked full-time with UASV as the business manager, personal manager, computer technician, copymeister, interior design consultant, maintenance supervisor, faculty and staff payroll representative, staff psychologist, textbook sales manager, receptionist, special events coordinator, office supply, overture. Please note, anyone interested in offering her a job doing any one or more of these things, please pick up one of the resumes conveniently located on the table by the plate. She wanted to say a special thank you to her husband, retired Air Force General Stephen Tailhook Nelson, her daughter Valdez, but your shoes go with my outfit, Nelson, and her son Jack, if you pay me, I'll do it, Nelson. She wanted to let everyone know that in honor of her graduation, her brother, American Airlines Captain Andy, will fly the entire graduating class and their guests to Hawaii for the weekend. Taxes, gratuities, and return flight not included. As a side note, I was there when we hired Asta, and I remember saying to her, you have to get your degree. No raise, Asta. Okay, for the post-baccalaureate certification in elementary education, Mary Joanne Bruger, our student speaker, received a BA in journalism from the University of Iowa. She worked as a substitute teacher while taking classes here. On the dean's list with distinction with a GPA of 3.89. She student taught at Bella Vista in the 3rd grade and would like to thank her husband, Bob, and their children, Michael, Mark, and Matthew, for their support and for their patience. Tanya Rosemary Hicks attended Cochise College, Pima Community College, Glendale Community College, and graduated from Grand Canyon University with a BS in Business Administration and Marketing. She student taught in the 2nd and 3rd grades at Double Adobe Elementary School in McNeil. She wins the UASV Campus Award for Perseverance for completing her methods block in spite of a broken leg. M. Ellis Stimson graduated from Carson Newman College with a BA magna cum laude with honors in political science and history. She will graduate with a 4.0 GPA, has been on the dean's list, and is a member of Phi Delta Kappa. Student taught at Myers School in the 4th grade, and she would like to thank her husband and children for putting up with a very busy and often preoccupied wife and mom. She especially remembers a particular evening after the last fall 92 class when most of the cohort went to Village Inn. It took all of us future teachers with supposedly excellent management skills at least 30 minutes to get the seating arrangement and tables situated. Even then, no one was very satisfied. Watch out, Cochise County Schools. And now for the Master of Arts teaching and teacher education major. Kim Ruth Akins attended San Francisco State University, Chapman College, and Cochise College before entering the program at the U of A. She graduated with a GPA of 3.9. She teaches at the First Baptist Christian Academy in the first grade. Her husband, Bill Akins, is a faculty member at Cochise College. She would like to thank her family and Mrs. Dorothy Richard, who housed her when she attended classes in Tucson. She wanted us to share her special memory of the Halloween day she took her comps while her family waited. After they were over, they all went out to lunch to celebrate. She asked us to make special mention of Dr. Jim Duncan's dedication to her and his other students. For the Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Darrell R. Hill attended the Air Force Institute of Technology and received a BS in Electrical Engineering from Washington University. He is a group leader with the MITRE Corporation. His group provides system engineering support to the U.S. Army Information Systems Command in the area of tactical information systems. He would like to thank his wife Janice for her understanding and support over all the evenings and weekends lost to study. Attended the Air Force Institute of Technology and received his BS from Texas A&M. You may recognize Henry and his wife Bridget. They were kind enough to pose for publicity photos and can be seen in many of our UASV brochures.
Turn around, face the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduates of the University of Arizona Service Campus, 1993. Dean John Taylor, College of Education.
This is for the graduates. I just want to share with you one of the most important pieces of literature that I've ever read. Something that tells me about myself, something that I share with my kids and with my students in terms of trying to also help them understand something about themselves. In terms of what it is that you have now gained and what it is that you can do in the future. And as stated earlier, you've reached a lot of goals already. Remember these words. They come from Ralph Ellison and The Invisible Man. And in the epilogue, he states, if only people can remember, and I'm paraphrasing and taking a little bit out of context, something about themselves when times are tough, when sometimes things just don't go the way they want to go. That in fact, every human being, at every moment in time, have infinite possibilities. You have more infinite possibilities now. And use those infinite possibilities to do good things for other people. Congratulations to you. Take those infinite possibilities with you.
feel different than you did when you first came in? You can bet they do. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank our distinguished guest for joining us tonight. Regent Eddie Boscher for his dress, Mary Joanne Bruder for her dress, Cochise College Woodring Quartet, which we are going to hear right now because they are going to play a nice piece of music for us in honor of our graduates. Before we conclude the ceremony, I would like to thank Carol and Ramada Inn for helping us out. This is the third year that we've done this. We've done a very, very fine job. So, applause. And a very special thank you to the staff at the University of Arizona's Service campus. I can't tell you enough how hard they work, although Alston didn't work too hard because he was trying to graduate this year. But seriously, they work very, very hard. I described this campus as a train going 110 miles an hour, and it is not only is everybody on board, but everybody's got a firm grip, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down in the next few years. So again, thank you very much for all your support over the last few years. Photographer, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. That concludes our ceremony.